Chris.
We're on the camera, y'all. Let's go.
Alright, we in there. Let's come with. Go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, I'm so. Oh,
Yes.
who's doing this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got your camera.
So I know I know a lot in Dominion. We've been talking about the law versus grace. You guys been talking about that too? Law versus grace. Yeah. So that's a really important thing. We didn't ask you guys to read any of the Exodus pieces, but Exodus 21 through 20 is basically the Ten Commandments. And the law isn't just the Ten Commandments. It's a lot of the stuff in the Old Testament that had like different procedures or rules. That's considered what the law is. And originally, what God gave the law to protect us, because He knew that. I mean, we're given grace. And grace is good, but a lot of times, even when we operate in grace, we get ourselves in trouble. So, like, if you go around and you mess around with everybody, even though you're given grace, you know, God will forgive you, but you still might get a disease or you might get pregnant. God is trying to protect us. So that's what the law. That's what the law versus grace is. Okay. And as you can see in your notes, it says the underlying reason for the law is to expose our sin and need for Messiah sacrifice. The prophets direct Israel back to God during periods of unfaithfulness. God's rules can give us true freedom and help us avoid the harsh consequences of unwise decisions. So it's important that we understand that even though we have lots of grace, God has given us a whole bunch of grace. But it's important that we remember what God is saying in the law and not basically follow the law, because we understand God doesn't want us to be mad at mad at ourselves for making mistakes or not following the law. Okay. Oh no, y'all making me laugh. Okay. So the law is a reminder to maintain all of God, to give God top priority in our life, treat others with love and respect, and keep motives pure. So it's important that we operate under grace. We have to understand that. That is a big thing. I'm not telling you guys to think, well, start worrying about the law. That's not even one of the things that we really need to worry about, especially at this church. Grace it covers everything, but we need to follow some of the principles of the law just so our lives can be successful and not crazy. Because once you fall in love with God, basically it's not law anymore anyway. It's just a relationship. Do you guys understand that?
Yes.
Well, the way they say it is the law is for the lawless, meaning that people who don't know what they're doing basically need to be told what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't repent if you don't know what you're doing is bad. And that's why the law exists. It's just like it's like a speed limit. You can't say, I can't tell you you're breaking the law if you don't ever be told that you can't go this far. And so that's what it was. Like, the people beforehand didn't know about what they were doing was wrong. They did what they felt. And so it had to come into play so they knew that this is what they were doing was wrong. Now, because there's been established what was wrong and right, now we don't live under the law. We have grace from the law, is what she's saying.
Any other comments about the purpose of the law?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay, so anybody want, it's the second, under the second why the law still matters, this paragraph. Anybody want to read that?
I'll read it.
Okay.
Short.
Woo!
At first glance, it seems righteousness or right standing with God could be attained by keeping the law of Moses. But it is impossible to keep 100% of the law 100% of the time. The law was given to expose our sin and make us accountable to God. Our righteousness doesn't come from walking the tightrope of the law, but through placing our faith in Jesus Christ and living under grace.
Okay. And tell us about, here it says that the law helps us understand our sin, helps us believe in Jesus, and helps us accept God's grace. That's the biggest important part, is to accept God's grace, because that's all, I mean, there's grace to cover everything.
I just have a question. What is that word? The first 5 books of the Old Testament?
Okay, that's the, the pen, I can't say it. Malachi, where are you when we need you? He can say it. He said it.
The Pentateuch.
How do you say it, the first 5 books of the Bible?
The Pentateuch.
The
The
Pentateuch. Yeah.
Pentateuch.
So that's what that is, and that's basically like the law, the laws. Most of the laws are in those 5 first books. So that's why we put that there. And And this is in the Old Testament. And so the New Testament, when Christ comes, which we're going to be talking about later, he comes in because we are now God's children. We don't have to live under the law. We live under grace. Y'all get it?
I got it.
Okay.
Amen.
And so now we're going to move on to the role of the prophets.